Now we'll be continuing with our web application part with DBWA. So I'm just getting my VM up, and we'll then continue from where we left off. Okay, before that, both of you have your DBWA properly set up, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. Let me just share that window. And we've already seen brute force, and we've seen command injection. Now we are going to see other vulnerabilities.
Sir, one general question.
Yes.
Sir, as we have seen that in this DWA, the application which is it is running in PHP technology. So the vulnerabilities are is only for PHP or for may exist from different languages also, like website made from Java or C Sharp.
No, these will exist in other frameworks as well. These are not uh, limited to PHP. In DBWA in particular is running on PHP, that is true. But these vulnerabilities, they are not restricted to DBWA itself. So what are the ones you've seen currently? Brute force, that has nothing to do with PHP. Then you have your command injection. Again, can exist with other languages, other frameworks as well. And even the ones that we're going to see, cross-site scripting, SQL injection, those are all available. Available is probably not the right word. Those are all present in other frameworks as well. So let's adjust the view first, and then we'll start up DBWA. localhost DBWA. Let's log out and log back in again. And okay, so all of these things, CSRF, cross-site request forgery, cross-site scripting, content security policy bypass, these are all present in other frameworks as well. This is not restricted to PHP. Now, you could say that PHP is a bit outdated as compared to the newer frameworks available today. So there are more chances of these issues occurring in PHP, slightly more, not by a vast margin. So that is something you could say, but these are not restricted just to PHP. These are things that you could, these are vulnerabilities that you could see on any framework. Okay, so we've seen command
Python
injection.
is more secure than any other web application
Which one?
technology. Python, Django frameworks.
Django. Yes, Django is quite secure. Even a lot of new JavaScript frameworks are very good. So there are actually, in web development, there is always something new coming every few days. So the debate on which is the most secure, it can never be settled actually. But a major source of vulnerabilities in any website, in any web application, is the third-party frameworks that you include in your app. So that is something you need to be very sure that you're using components which are not very vulnerable, and you're using the latest versions of whatever libraries or additional components you are adding onto your web application. So that is something that is also, we actually saw this when we discussed OWASP. There was one risk. I think it was number 8, using components with known vulnerabilities. So that is something to keep in mind. Not, uh, and not it's not just dependent on the language, but also additional libraries or additional components that you are utilizing. Now, command injection we had discussed, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what about this file inclusion? Had we discussed that? We've not discussed this, right?
No, sir. File inclusion was not discussed.
Okay. So let's continue with file inclusion. Now, what is file inclusion? Take a look at this URL for the current page that we are on. There is a parameter, and that is page is equal to include.php. Include.php is this current page that is open. If I click on file1.php, it is going to load the contents of that, and the URL changes to page is equal to file1.php. Now, file1.php, now this is a PHP page, so it's a web page. It is a part of this directory, this current directory, and it is being loaded when we click on it. So these are different files, different pages. Now, whenever you have such a parameter which directly takes the value of a web page and tries to load it, you can try to change the value and include some other page on the system. So let's say instead of this include.php or file1 or file2.php, let's say I want to try to include some other page on a system. So if this system is vulnerable to file inclusion, I should be able to see whatever files I want. Now this dot dot slash, this is used to get out of the current directory and go to the parent directory. When you're at a web server, you don't know what directory that current web page is located in. Now this is in regards to the server. So if I want to view if I want to go back to the root directory, so just to be safe, I need to include a lot of these, and then I can specify. Okay, I accidentally mentioned this twice. So now in order to make sure we go back to the root, we've included quite a few dot slashes, and after that etc password. So this is a file containing information about different users on the system, and we are able to access it now. So if we enlarge it, just you can see this is the content of the password file. Now this particular example, this comes under local file inclusion. There are two types of file inclusion: local file inclusion and remote file inclusion. Local is local with respect to the server. In this case, we are viewing the etc password file present on the server. Now, of course, since we are using DBW and I'm using it on my own system, so coincidentally in this case the server is the same as the system on which we are browsing it. But in any realistic scenario for an actual website, what would happen is that you would be browsing the server, you would be browsing the website, and if you try to use this file, if the server is vulnerable to file inclusion, if the website is vulnerable to file inclusion, then you would be able to do this kind of thing and view the password file for the server. So this file is available to us. Similarly, if you know the location of any other files, you can access those if you have the permissions for that. Because we saw that when we use command injection and ran the whoami command, we don't run as root, we run as a service known as www data. Now that does not have access to any directories which are reserved for root. So etc password you can access.
The etc password file is stored in shadow file, so anybody doesn't have the right to directly view the shadow file, means password from the shadow file.
Yeah, shadow file. See, if I try to access it right now, I won't be able to get it because only root has that permission. So I won't be able to access every file on the system, but I may be able to access a lot of things. But the password file you can access, the shadow file you cannot access. Password file contains the names of the user accounts. Shadow file will contain the actual user password hashes. In earlier days, this password file used to contain everything, but that's no longer the case. So this is local file inclusion. Now let's take a look at remote file inclusion. Instead of this local path, if I specify a website with this HTTP, let's try google.com.
So I think this has been done in last class.
Has been done.
Yeah, that google.com we.
Okay. So Google has opened up. See, if, have we done this like bypassing the filtering on the medium and high levels? Have we done that?
Yes, sir. Up to medium level we have done it.
Up to medium level. Okay. So if you did the medium level, then we must have done this. Was this covered? This.
Filtering we have also done.
Yeah. Okay. So we have done that. And for the high level, here. Did we do this? This file etc password, did we do that? Or have we not? Let me check this. Okay, if we haven't, let's just cover it again. Now, normally what would happen is if you try to include anything here, like let's say then it would tell you file not found. Even if we tried this, even if I tried this would not work. This file 1, file 2 and file 3 are all available. So we can use this file keyword, and after that just add colon, double slash, and one more for etc/password and access it. Just like you have HTTP, similarly you also have file if you want to open a file locally on your system. If you take a look at the source code for this one, then you'll see that the filtering they are enabling here is either the file should be include.php or it should this parameter actually, either the parameter should be include.php or it should start with file and then there's an asterisk next to it. File star, that means the first 4 characters should be file for this parameter, and after file anything you can insert. So we have used this to our advantage whenever this comes under regular expressions. So file star means we write file and after that as many characters as we want we can insert, 0 to however many the application can handle. So file etc password, this allows us to view any file on the system as well. But in this high level security, in this case remote file inclusion is not possible, only local file inclusion is possible through this. So RFI, remote file inclusion, not possible, but LFI is possible. Now moving on to other vulnerabilities, we have file upload. We haven't seen this yet, right? File upload.
No, sir.
Okay. Let's first shift to low security, go back to file upload. Now see, it's telling us choose an image to upload. Okay. So this is simply an upload box. This is quite common. You see it in a lot of websites. Sometimes you're filling out forms, sometimes you're simply uploading something to social media or some other website, and you see this kind of thing. Now I can simply choose an image. Okay, I don't have an image. How about I choose a text file and upload it? So it's allowing me to upload, and it's also telling me the path where it uploaded it.
Sir,
hackable
this
upload
exploit was basically used earlier for website defamation.
for
Website defacement. Website defacement.
defacement. Okay. Yeah, actually, if you upload a web shell for this through this vulnerability, then you can basically do anything on the website, control the entire website, even access files on the server, or you can gain access to a shell on the server. I'll show you all that. So okay, now it's telling us that this has been successfully uploaded, and it's also giving you the path. So simply those two dot slashes were just removed and we were taken back to directories and dvwa hackable uploads, and this is the users.txt. So it's just a text file containing 4 or 5 default usernames, nothing much. Uploads, if I go back to uploads, I'll see all the different things that have been uploaded here. Now see the issue here. It says that you need to upload an image, choose an image to upload, but it's actually allowing us to upload anything. Text file we uploaded. Now this was a harmless text file, it did not contain anything malicious. But what if someone wants to upload something malicious? So what I'm now going to upload is a web shell in PHP, and the name of that web shell is B374K with B4. Okay, I don't have it currently here. I'll need to go to that directory. The zip file is present here, right? .zip. Okay. Unknown suffix. Okay, gzip. Okay, yeah, that's the mistake I was making. I can't use g unzip here. I need to use unzip. Okay, so now if I take a look, then I have the PHP file. I can upload it. This So let's try uploading a malicious file now. It's a PHP web shell and upload. Again, it has been uploaded successfully. If I go to Hackable and uploads, then okay, this is the file. If I access it, so it opens up a web shell. Basically, you have to log in first, but apparently this session is already saved. So you just have to enter B374K as the password, and then you get access to that web shell. So now currently we are in this Explorer part. So it allows you to view any files on the web server. And currently what directory we're in, var www html dvwa. So for dvwa, when we access dvwa, this is the first file that opens up, index.php. Okay. Now you mentioned defacement, which is exactly what I can do here. So I'll just write the words, you have been hacked. I'll save it. Now if I open dvwa, so this will show up here. You have been hacked. We were able to modify the source code for the web pages for the website, and basically this is also defacement that we talked about, and we did this through the file upload vulnerability. We uploaded a web shell. Through that we edited the files and we defaced the website. This is just a simple text saying you have been hacked. You could add a lot of stuff, more text, images, change the background color. You could do a lot of things here. Completely change the look of the website if you want to truly deface it. But okay, I'm not doing here because that's not the goal. Process status PS, it tells you all the different running processes. Eval, if you want to evaluate any code, if you want to run any kind of code. Info gives you different kinds of information about the system, server info, CPU info, memory info, all of that kind of thing. So all of this information you can see. Then you have DB, which is you try to connect to the database if you want. That's not really purpose. Remote shell, okay, this is very important functionality, that you can either create a bind shell or a remote shell, sorry, not remote shell, reverse shell, to connect to the system, connect to the server actually. So even that functionality you have with the help of this web shell. So through the file upload vulnerability, by exploiting that, we are able to upload anything we want, and we can hack the entire website using this, if this kind of vulnerability exists. So this is file upload, low security level. If I increase this to medium, okay, haven't really specified. If I upload this PHP file again, it'll say your image was not uploaded. We only accept JPG or PNG images. Now there is something that we can do to bypass this, but it will involve the use of Burp Suite. So let's open that. And close the terminal, no worries. Let me just open it again. So first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename that PHP file. So let's go to desktop directory, and for rename we use the move command. Name of the file is b374k.php, and we'll rename it to b374k.php dot jpg dot jpeg. So save this. So now it has been renamed. Now we'll try to upload this. See what happens. So let burp suite open up, then I'll let this start and we'll work in this. Meanwhile, I can tell my browser to use burp. Proxy intercept is on, but browse, and we select this JPEG file now. Open it and click on open. Upload. Now burp suite has intercepted that request, and you can see here we have some file details, and this is the entire content of that PHP file. So this is the complete content. Now we are not going to make any changes to this. I'm just going to change this file name back to b374k.php, and I'll click on forward. So again, it tells us that the file has been successfully uploaded, and we were able to bypass this check as well. Click on view source, you'll see that it's checking whether the image type, whether the upload type is image JPG or image PNG. Only then it's allowing you to upload. Otherwise, it will say image was not uploaded. Now let's try even higher. File upload. Let's try the previous trick again, see if it works. Now it's not working. It says your image was not uploaded. We can only accept JPG or PNG images. So even though it's picking it up as a JPG file on the client side, it does a check on the server side before accepting the file. And due to this, we cannot use our previous technique to upload it now. So we'll have to change it a little bit. So in this case, what we are going to do, okay, let me just do the exact same thing again, and I'll make one change. Browse, upload. Now I'm not going to let this, I'm not going to change this. I'm going to let this be a JPEG file, and I'll also add this one small piece of text, GIF 298, which is at the beginning of an image file, so that DVWA thinks that this is an image. So forward it, set off, and it's telling us that it is successfully uploaded. Go to hackable uploads, and this is our JPG file. This is the PHP from which we previously uploaded. This is the JPG file which we uploaded just now. If I click on it, now this time it tells me the image cannot be displayed because it contains error. Of course it contains errors, it's not an image file at all. So in this case I need to make use of another vulnerability, which is command injection. So need to make use of this and rename that. Now I know that that file is in hackable and upload, so again I need to go back to directories, hackable uploads v374k.php.jpeg2. I'll just copy this entire thing and click on submit. Now it's not giving us any output, but this should have worked. Let's check. Uploads. Okay, so it worked. That file was renamed to v374k.php. Now if I try accessing it, so again I'm able to use the web shell, and of course there's also the GIF298 piece of text that I wrote while I intercepted the request in Burp. So here we've seen this file upload vulnerability and how it can be exploited to upload malicious payloads onto the website or web server. Upload such stuff, and then you can basically control the web server, do whatever you want with it. So this covers the file upload vulnerability. Any questions here?
No, sir.
No? Okay. Make sure you guys try this out on your own systems as well. Only then to be, then you'll be able to fully understand what is going on here. Then the next thing we have is CSRF. We haven't covered that yet. CSRF refers to cross-site request forgery, and that basically means that there is a person who has logged in to a website. He's authenticated. He has a session currently running on that website. So he has logged into his account. He's working on that website. And what you do is you are sending that person a link, a malicious link, and tricking them into thinking that it's for something else. So basically your typical social engineering situation, phishing situation actually. You're tricking them into thinking that it's something else, and you make them click on that link. So what happens is some action, some unintended action is performed on that website on which that person is logged in from their account. Now this could be something like changing the password, which we are going to see here, or it could be something even more serious. Actually changing your password is also very serious, or something it could be like deleting your account, or in case we're talking about a net banking kind of situation, then it could also be transferring money from your account. So CSRF is also a very serious vulnerability. Now the thing is, this is an input field which tells you to change your admin password. If I simply enter a new password here, new pass, it will change it without any confirmation, without anything. It will simply change the password. Now we are going to make use of this and create a link, create a malicious link. So I'm going to view the page source. Now, whenever you have this kind of input field and a submit button, it's usually a form. So this is the form that we need. It has these two fields, new password and confirm new password. And we're simply going to use this form. Okay, this can take a little while, so I'm going to continue with it tomorrow. Otherwise it kind of breaks the flow. So I'll start with this tomorrow itself. Meanwhile, if there's any questions from today's session or from previous sessions, you're free to ask.
No, sir.
Sir, as in file upload vulnerability,
Yeah.
this application is giving us a window to upload a file.
Mm.
But this will be only applicable to the websites who has this vulnerability. Then they must have the file upload option as a functionality, or we can.
Yeah, that is true.
So if the website doesn't have any file upload functionality, then it is not possible then.
Yeah, this exact vulnerability will not be possible in that case.
Okay.
If there is no file upload functionality, then this will not be there. Any other questions? No? Okay, so we'll stop here.